Now, before I introduce my co-host in crime, I'm going to do something that I've been sorely lacking in doing, and I never do. This being part two to one of our episodes, and usually it's this that ends up on YouTube. I'd like to send a message out to our YouTube listeners. Our subscriber base seems to be growing, which we're very thankful for. Thank you for watching and subscribing. But I do want to make one thing clear. This is but a snippet, a small morsel of an entire episode. What you see on YouTube is actually a short preview of a full-length audio podcast. And so when you hear us say things such as, we discussed this or that in the first half, that means there is a first half to the episode. And the only way to get that first half is by tuning in to our full-length audio podcast. You can find that podcast on our RSS feed as well as on your favorite streaming platform. And what you're seeing now is the second half after we've watched the movie and we're ready to discuss what we got right, wrong, and everything else in between. So do yourself a favor. If you haven't checked us out yet, log on to your favorite streaming platform and get the full shebang. That being said and out of the way, hello, Scott.
Hey, welcome back, June. June, I like how when you threw out our podcast service, you used Google Podcasts as an example. The podcast you were just telling us is going away.
Yes.
That will not be a podcasting network. Now, there's things like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, but whatever. Google's fine.
No, Google's fine. I'm gonna go with the loser of the bunch.
Yeah, the one that will soon be gone. Find us there.
Yes, that is how my mind works, folks. It's been that kind of day. Hello, Dana.
Hola, June. Yo soy Batman.
We got the Mexican Batman. I love it. Yes, this is the second half to our Batman Returns retro review, which is a part of our Tim Burton month. Let's go, man. Facts, figures, and observations about Tim Burton's Batman Returns. What do you guys got for us?
Well, I mean, this is a big hit, right? This movie, when it came out, its opening weekend, it did like 43 something million dollars. And at that time, it was the highest grossing opening weekend ever.
I believe it.
Yeah. Its overall gross was only, I want to say like 190 million, but this is also 1992. So that's a huge hit.
You said what, 190 million?
162 million in the US and Canada. Worldwide, it was 267 million. Michael Keaton did make $11 million for this movie. So some of that went to Michael Keaton.
Wow. Well, I mean, from what you said in the first half, I think it took some convincing to get him to come back.
Yeah, it did. He was actually going to do a third one until Tim Burton decided to drop out. And then he met with Joe Schumacher and did not like what Joel Schumacher had to offer, which makes sense. And he was out. That's when Val Kilmer comes in.
Yeah, I don't think I think we can agree most people didn't like. Well, to be fair, I mean, those movies still did very well at the box office. Obviously, the Batman thing was still going strong. And I think those films do have their fans. Tim Burton went fucking loco with this film, man. He had a vendetta. He had something to prove. Because I forgot how, yes, of course, it retained the campiness that Tim Burton is well known for throughout his filmography. But man, you were not
This may be his darkest film. This is up there with Sleepy Hollow and Sweeney Todd for being his darkest film. I mean, it's a dark film.
Just the Penguin alone.
The Penguin alone made his darkest character.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, when he wasn't spitting black bile, which he was throughout this whole movie. I only remembered him doing that in a few instances, but no, it was throughout the whole movie. He had some black substance dribbling out of his mouth at any given moment. And man, but just as well. The script was crazy. The things they had the penguin say in this
Yes.
movie.
I wrote down a lot of those quotes. I have a lot of the penguin quotes. Right?
I
I
wrote
was
down
hoping you would.
only 2.
And Dana said,
They
like,
were
I
the-
only
the-
needed 2. And I think I
They
know
were-
which 2 you're talking
I'm
about.
sure the horny ones for sure, because there's a lot of horny penguin quotes.
Absolutely.
I was watching this, and in the first half of this episode, we referenced, how Tim Burton got his balls busted by Warner Brothers, but because, by this time, there was a merchandising blitz with Batman, and it continued into this movie. And of course, Warner Brothers wanted to tie this in to as much merchandising as possible. And of course, it was kid-oriented merchandising. Oh boy.
Which it should be, because it is Batman, but this is the original dark superhero movie. This may be the darkest of all the Batman movies. You know what I mean? This makes Nolan movies look like sunny, this is this is dark.
Oh my God, they went all out, or at least Tim Burton did. I don't know who wrote the script, if he did, or holy mackerel, man. The things they had the penguin say, not to me, I mean, well, he was the most vulgar of the bunch, obviously, but there were so many sexual innuendos.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But oh man, let's just get into it. Do you guys want to go into the plot?
Yeah, let's go right into it, because it starts out dark. I mean, the opening of the movie is the birth of the penguin. Everyone's horrified by this baby that's born, and the parents are. Who's the parents, guys?
Oh my God, Paul Rubin.
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman and the waitress from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. It plays.
Is that her?
Yes, that's the waitress. So
she looked familiar.
Yeah, they're reunited, and they're the parents of the penguin. Paul Rubens, by the way, this is after the scandal. And
yes,
Tim Burton put him in one of his movies after his big scandal. So it was very nice of Tim Burton. Going out there.
Of course, one of the ongoing tropes in Tim Burton's films, there are things happening while the credits are rolling. It's like the movie has already begun. He doesn't wait. He jumps right into it with the scenery. You get the vibe, you get the tone of the film. And as Scott just mentioned, it starts out with the birth of the penguin and how his parents deal with having how
they deal with it.
This handicapped child. I don't know what you want to call this.
He's a mutant. He's essentially a mutant.
I try to find a nice way of putting it, but yeah.
Well, they put him in a cage, and then you see him eat the family cat. Pulls the family cat into the cage. This is all under a minute into the movie, and then they decide to take the baby for a walk in their stroller, and they throw the baby and the stroller into the river. So that's how the movie starts.
But yeah, we get the origin of the penguin during the credits. Yes. Okay, the credits are still rolling.
Yeah, and this is how you start a superhero movie. Probably a lot of parents taking their children to see this.
It says
their faults, man.
Yeah,
PG-13 is PG-13. How dare this?
It was PG-13. It was originally rated R, and Warner Brothers really begged them to get PG-13. I don't think he cut too much out of the film to get it, so they just kind of caved and gave it a PG-13.
It should have been at least a soft R.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how often you can say pussies in the children's one, but
there was a lot of cats in this movie, Dana.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, we follow this. What was it? Was it even a baby carriage they put him in? I don't even know. Everything was black
carriage.
In this movie.
It had wheels, but yeah, then it looked
it was a black one. That's the thing that was funny though. It was like it definitely looked like a coffin. As they kind of push him into the water. It's supposed to be frigid water, and they just push their child into it. Good parenting, Gotham. Go Gotham.
So he winds up in the sewers of this abandoned zoo, and I guess he's raised by penguins or whatever else he
apparently.
There.
Yeah, I don't know where he learns to speak. I don't know where he becomes a big boss crime syndicate. There's some alluding that he was part of the circus at one point. There was Batman finds like a newspaper article about a penguin boy or something like that. So maybe the circus freaks
aquatic bird boy.
The aquatic
Yes,
bird boy. So
the
I
aquatic
wish
bird
they,
boy.
I wish they could
Yeah.
have delved a little bit more into that, man. I know there's only so much time in the movie, but just out of morbid curiosity to see what this person went through as a child and how he just survived